Yes, welcome viewers. This is Wadidja, as in what did you say, what did you do, and what did you think? Bringing you another commentary video, to preserve the memory of my gaming experience with Anthem here. And one of the faction challenges, or well, the last one that seems to be available at the moment, is the Champion of Tarsis, which will unlock the refurbishment, or remodeling of General Tarsus's tomb, which is back here in the fort here. I don't know, I'll do a quick little run up here, and so you can see what it looks like beforehand. I believe that any signs of disrepair and scaffolding which you see up ahead will probably disappear once this has been completed. And we'll be able to go inside, I'm sure. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this is going to really reveal itself to be. And it's been quite a journey, I'd say. I've done my best to go ahead and try to focus on, just the points, because I tell you, trying to focus on, your legendary drops, or, mid-maxing is rather difficult in the manner of things. And I mean, heck, I'll be honest with you, the reward, which you kind of saw, were these masterwork blueprints for universal components, is a big lackluster in the fact that, they offer legendary drops for the same thing. And it's sort of like, well, with that in mind, it's for the sake that it can be done, and in a lot of ways is the reason why I've kind of pushed to go ahead and complete it. It's kind of a shame. The gold coloring or material that you can get as far as metaling will, be good to get. I'll be excited to get that when it comes through. But at the same time, I mean, the brass color that they have out has suited most people very well as far as gold coloring, or whatever color they could, match within the palette for whatever material they wanted to use. So it is real bizarre how they just did not have enough foresight to understand that, the accomplishments, well, the rewards that they have set for the accomplishments makes you feel rather put out at the end of it. Simply because of the way the rewards are delivered to you. You're able to get legendaries just by playing the game, and your reward is masterwork blueprints. That's completely contrary to the any type of punishment reward, just social behavioral understandings of motivation for people to go after things. So yeah, I'm not really sure what they ultimately have planned, or why they decided to leave it the way it is and haven't made an adjustment for it. Because there are a lot of people out there like myself, I'm sure, that do enjoy many aspects of the game, which I do. It's there are just unfortunately a lot of aspects which are disappointing, like the one I'm mentioning here. So yeah, that's my build, running at about 98% luck. These are the armor pieces that I've chosen to use, and in case anybody was curious. And we'll go ahead and run this last freelancer mission. I'll go ahead and do the stronghold, Heart of Rage, which offers you 150 freelancer points. And to be honest with you, the best way to kind of get through this challenge, in my opinion, is to run strongholds for the most part, because they offer you 150 points per faction. Um, you know, and just to show you here, um, you know, as far as strongholds are concerned, you know, this one here gives you Tyrant Mind. Will give you, you know, Alchemist points, 150. Heart of Rage, as I mentioned before, Freelancer points, and you can get your Sentinel points here from the Temple of Scar. If you want to, you know, switch off to, you know, the Sunken Self for your Freelancer points, you can do so as well. And keep in mind, daily you have your legendary missions and regular legendary contracts and regular contracts, each of which give you 50 points each towards, you know, Freelancer, Arcanist, or Sentinel points. So, you know, each one correlates to a different one. Like, you know, this is Arcanist, for example. And you know, you can, you know, to me, another one that's really advantageous, although it's different each day, are your legendary missions, because if you can get the right legendary mission, like for example this one here, it allows you to get over 100 points, you know, 100 points or more, shall I say, for each faction for just one run. You know, so this, you know, whenever you see these up there, sometimes you might get, you know, 2 factions with each over 100 points, you know, versus 3. Sometimes it might just be 1 faction. So, you know, just keep an eye out. I try to run these legendary missions each day to, you know, just increase my odds of getting drops because of the types of enemies that you face in the legendary missions, you know, as well as your legendary contracts, as well as your strongholds. Just, you know, running through the gambit of things, adding to the variety, you know, while I'm trying to accumulate points. You know, because like I said, it's, you know, the build that I'm working with is decent and it's strong, but it's good for, you know, really just Grandmaster 1 unless I have a real strong team with Grandmaster 2 or 3. Survivability isn't the best. To me, you know, emergency power and softened blows would be, you know, 2 components that I would put in to increase my survivability, you know, over, you know, the airborne ranger aspects of components that I have in, like for example, you know, airborne advantage. I would take that out for emergency power or soften blows, and trying to think here, what's the other one? Yeah, tactical advantage, I would take that off and put that, you know, replace that with soften blows or emergency power. So yeah, tactical advantage and airborne advantage, I would take these 2 out for survivability for, you know, Grandmaster 2 or 3, but I haven't been able to get the legendary versions of them, and running Grandmaster 2 and Grandmaster 3 just isn't worth it, you know, in regard to the, you know, the drop rate that you get, the amount of time it takes to run through it. And like I said, I switched my goal from trying to perfect some build to just completing the challenges to, you know, try to enjoy the game as best as I could without feeling, you know, super disappointed. I mean, being able to accomplish the challenge alone is good for me, you know. I'm very happy about that. And, you know, but at the same time, the reward is just kind of piss poor in regard to the nature of drops you have. But, you know, we'll run through this Heart of Rage real quick to make sure that we don't miss any messages that may pop up as the accomplishment is completed. And, you know, when we get back to the fort, you know, we won't miss any, you know, messages that may come up. And we'll get to see what new conversations may pop up within the fort. And any other, you know, new types of codec entries that may be available. But, you know, this is just for now at this point in time within the build of things. Hopefully, excuse me, they'll kind of, you know, redo a few things like this reward structure here for this monumental accomplishment in a way, because, you know, you have to get 150,000 points, 50,000 points for each faction. And, you know, you do need to monitor that to try to make sure that you are kind of not overdoing any one versus the other, so that you can complete everything within a reasonable amount of time. Let me Let me change my chat
Dominion
options.
forces cleared.
There'll be more ahead. Don't stop now. The monitor won't.
Thought I had this.
That sounds foreboding.
I think we're okay. No, I don't know. Let me just try to
That
catch
guy
up with
is
the group.
dead. So's the Titan once you're through with it.
But yeah, I do like this airborne ranger setup though. Keeps me flying about as long as a storm javelin a lot of times. I'm not sure what option to change on my chat so that the group isn't hearing my conversation in the video, but I apologize if you guys can hear what I'm saying. You might want to mute me if you can. Guys, gals, individuals,
Hey,
people.
Alec, I've lost connection.
Poor little cipher. I tried so hard, but the Anthem isn't for the weak.
Then why can you hear it? Up with the flight controls. Ground their interference. Destroy it. Or enjoy the stroll. Ouch!
Freelancer. Can you hear me?
No easy thing. You alright?
Peachy. Just concentrating.
It's taken everything she's got to keep your jab at full functionality.
Not everything. She still has her life.
Nah, I want to hear better lines. Like a relic? And of course, the Dominion just had to poke it. Silence it so we can reach the monitor.
But yeah, with a good team, you can get through these strongholds fairly quickly. I would advise definitely having a good, strong build and not to experiment too much in these strongholds, because oddly enough, you will find some players trying to be a little, I don't know, obnoxious. I'm not sure what the right word is for that, where, you know, if you go down, a lot of times they might not want to revive you or pick you up, you know, and they'll stand there and try to, you know, taunt you or heckle the fact that you know, needed a revive. I don't play that way. To me, that's just kind of lame. But keep that in mind that you might run across that frustration.
Energy levels dropping. Almost there.
But yeah, and you know, FYI, the legendary drop rate has been rather random and sporadic, but you know, constant depending on the amount that you play. You know, to me, it's rather variable as to when it drops to come out, and I haven't found any particular gimmick or mechanism that makes it, you know, more reliable.
You were too slow.
Regardless of the method, trust me, I tried it.
The Anthem. Remade him.
This was going to be tough when he was regular sized. Just remember, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Let's end this. He's on the move again.
Let's go get some.
It's changing.
Through the cenotaph. The monitor has power over the heart of rage.
The chat's not built for acid.
The cenotaph. He doesn't have full control. It activated him somewhere else.
Yeah, when she says that, you can actually go to your map and just hold L, you know, whatever button it is for your system and just respawn. You don't have to wait for the door to open or fly all the way there at the moment. They may patch this at some point, but at the moment you want to wait till, you know, they make that announcement. And just save a little bit of time. And you know, these energy spheres on the map, you know, increase your damage output as well. He's fairly aware of that and will move. And boom goes the dynamite.
The monitor. It's gone. It's really over.
Are you still in pain?
No. The Anthem? I let it go.
Another job in the
Oh,
books. On to the next. At least wait for me to get back to the strike, okay?
So that should do it on the champion Tarsis. How you doing there, Rebellion? I'll get your friend crest in a minute here. Got that laugh too, you know it. So yeah, we'll see what this champion of Tarsis achievement brings here. Yeah, and the expedition complete screen here, where you get your totals from your mission, and your this is still acting funny. Luckily, you can still um, go through your items here for the most part. Every so often, I will get some kind of weird long error and get kicked back to the main screen and have to log back in. So they're still working out the kinks on that end too. But like I said, it's not too bad. This particular issue seems to be fairly frequent as far as not being able to see your totals. But at least, they've kind of ironed out most of your bugs as far as like deleting your gear is concerned, or salvaging it rather. It's still a little time consuming, and if you go too fast, I've noticed errors. So I try to pause a little bit here and there to give the handshake with the server a little time to keep up. I think that may be the hang up, I'm not sure. I definitely like to try to let it all process before going to the fort. I've noticed errors when not doing that too. As far as showing you the handshakes completed by, noticing the gear, the ranger parts and the ember parts coming up to on the right there, the components and things. So try to make sure that finishes before exiting out of here. Just seems to save issues. Encountered. Yeah, it may be a minute before I put out another video with this game here, because Anthem's got some work to do and some catching up to make up for, as far as just having everything jive and be cohesive. I mean, like I said, with this Champion of Tarsis thing, the reward is just off. Masterwork blueprints when you get legendaries already doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, it may add up, because now they've improved the fact that you don't get drops for other javelins. So, if you're a newcomer coming in, you're not getting parts for other javelins. The fact that you've acquired this Champion of Tarsus achievement, you can make universal, components at your whim. And you can mid-max your situation if you have enough materials for the point, or until you get legendary versions. I mean, that to me is about the only way that this kind of comes in handy. But if you're the generation of players that first started out with the game, you probably already have masterwork versions of universals that would apply to the other javelins. So again, it's kind of like, man, they just didn't have a lot of forethought. So let's see what this looks like. Factions. Yeah, alright, it's been completed. Champion of Tarsis. So yes, there it is. So we get the gold. Gunslinger's Mark, Elusive Talisman, Tactical Advantage, Emblem of Destruction, Combined Arm, Shock Treatment, Token of Master, Talisman of Power, Blueprints, and 2,000 coin. So let's see what things may be looking like here. So we got the 2,000 coin. See that? Let's go to. See something here. Yeah, let's just go to this one because it doesn't have a lot of other colors. So paint.
Anything for the hero of Fort Tarsis.
So we'll be in. Yeah, so there it is. So that's the gold, and that's the brass. So essentially, the gold is darker, like a darker version of the brass, deeper, darker, more yellowy version, which goes. You can tell the difference even on various different weapons that may have a gold finish on them in some aspect or another. It's a little bit more yellowy, deeper, darker than your brass. So that's your brass, which most people try to use now as your gold, but that's the real gold. So that is interesting. But yeah, once you get the armor pieces, you can do a lot of interesting combinations. Let's see what the gold looks like on this one here. Paint. Yeah, that's really good luster. Yeah, you can really see the difference between the two. See, I use this welds for the fabric type. Yeah, it's a bit much. Yeah, you can go all the way out with it though if you want it. I don't know. Let's see. Let's just do it. Like somebody need to drink some water. Alright, so yeah, so that's the gold finish all the way across, minus the leather, of course. I think that matches a little bit better. Yeah, see, that matches a little bit better in my opinion, the Legion of Dawn vinyl, if you do have it, versus the brass. Although if you wanted to mix the brass and the gold together, that isn't bad either. Alright, so let's see what the fort has to offer. Oh, wait a minute. We gotta, there are the blueprints. Let's take a look at that real quick.
Then first you intimidate.
Yeah, combined arms. Let's see. Where are my blueprints? Where are my blueprints? Was I mistaken? Am I confused? Hang on. You can go to your codex this way. Gunslinger's Mark, Elusive Talisman. Oh, okay. Some of these blueprints are actually for other javelins. That's the reason why I'm not seeing them all. Okay. Well, that explains that. So now I guess not all of them are universal. Some are universal, some are javelin specific. So yeah, so we have combined arms here. And tactical advantage. It's ranger specific. I thought some of them were universal. Guess they are javelin specific then. My bad. Let's see. Let's add the gold. Let's see what blueprints did we get. Oops. Components. Okay, we got Emblem of Destruction. That's a Colossus. So yeah, they're javelin specific. I thought some of them were universal, or all of them were. Oh. Okay, shock treatment. So far 2 blueprints per javelin, maybe. Put the gold on. Oops, that's not right. Paint. Bling bling. Alright, see what components. Gunslinger's mark. Storm. Specific javelin component. And token of the master. So yeah, I guess they're all javelin specific, it looks like. That's cool. Well, I guess that does make it a little bit more worthwhile, like I said, but it's only if you're coming in after the initial phase of the game until they got the drop pool correct, where you're not receiving javelin components or gear when you're running a different javelin, you know. So if you're running the Ranger javelin, you're at the moment you're not. It's very unlikely to get, shall I say, Interceptor, Storm, or Colossus parts. So, you know, if you're just coming in on the game or you're new past the point of its inception, you know, it would do you a lot more good to complete the Champion of Tarsis when or if you decide to play any of the other javelins, or if you're just very unlucky not to get, you know, a good mid-max set up, you know, with whatever masterwork components you get. I mean, because if you get legendary, you know, components, that's just gonna, you know, mute the point. But, you know, there's the gold color, which, you know, adds some bragging rights to the point for sure. But yeah, so elusive talisman for the Interceptor and talisman of power for the Interceptor. So yeah, I mean, I apologize. You know, about the mistake on what the components are for. They're not universal. They're all javelin specific, 2 each for each javelin. And you know, if you're, you know, like I said, if even like myself, I pretty much focus mainly on the Ranger javelin. The components that you see that I have that are, you know, legendary for these different javelins is simply because of when the drop pool was polluted back in the day. You know, accomplishing this besides the gold color will come in handy, like I said, for people who are new or want to mid-max what they have, since the drop pool has ceased to give you parts for other javelins, which, like I said, I find that to be a marketable improvement, especially if you're not interested in the other javelins. Let's see what we got. Oh, isn't that pretty? Yeah, all the scaffolding is gone. Birds are flying. The fish are swimming. And let's see, on the map, is there any new conversations? Doesn't look like any new conversations. But we'll check what's there to be sure after we take a look inside. So yeah. So still some scaffolding on the sides, interestingly enough. But, you know, around the statues, everything's gone. In front, everything's gone. Big rusty sword. Or is that made out of stone? Not sure. I guess this is General Tarsis' tomb. Got a little codex entry over here. The monitor. Is this our hors d'oeuvres, sir? Is this for guests? Or is it just tribute to her? Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot more. Nice chill spot. So yeah, there's the completion of the fort at the moment. As far as anything else that I can open up. Let's see here. So there's a conversation in the bar. Mathis, freelancer Janie. I think the conversation in the bar might be a new one. I don't know. Haven't checked in a minute. Might be for something else. If so, I apologize. Let's see. Make sure there's no other. Path to Glory. There's no more critical objectives at the moment. Wait a minute, let's see. Expedition wise, there's still a question mark. I guess that's letting you know that there's more to come. But completing the champion of Tarsis did not change that. So let's go down here by the bar, see what's up with Sev. I think that's Sev right here.
Everything okay, Sev? You look more worried than usual.
You got a lot more intel from that lab than we expected. Corvus is thrilled. Congratulations. But what you found will keep me awake at night for the rest of my life, probably.
They couldn't have been trying to start cataclysms. Nobody would do that on purpose.
I'm not sure that's better. Does it really matter what they intended when the end result is always a disaster? It worries me that the Dominion wanted that old research. Are they planning another free mark?
The Monitor wanted to control the Anthem. I don't think the Dominion will give up on the idea.
See? That thought's also going to keep me up at night.
Well, it's a good thing we found out, right? We'll let Tassin worry about what the Dominion are planning.
When she worries about something, the whole fort loses sleep. I'd better get back to it. I'll be in touch, freelancer.
I have no idea what the right path of that conversation should have been. But either way, I don't think that conversation had anything to do with the Champion of Tarsis mission or challenge. I don't know what that had to do with it all, to be honest with you, unfortunately.
How long do you think?
Let's see. Think. Freelancer Janie. I believe that's just Mathis talking to his selves. So yeah, let's see what's up with Freelancer Janie. But yeah, I most likely that's probably it. But yeah, walking through the fort will allow us to see if there's any other type of codex entries that may relate to the point. See, this is Freelancer Janie, but she's not saying anything. And that's kind of been that way for a minute now. Like it'll be like she's looking to talk to you, but she's not. So I don't know what's up with that. Anyway, but I think that's going to do it as far as what there was to uncover or discover in regard to the Champion of Tarsis and its achievement. What? Why does it say why does it say that? What the... Yo, why does it say that? That is ridiculous. That should not say that. Oh my god, what is wrong with this game, man? I'm glad I have this live on film because, I mean, yo, what did I do to have it look like it deleted all of my progress for the Champion of Tarsis? Was it the fact that I had that conversation and it wanted to try to add points? Hang on, let me go to this launch bay for a second. You also to get to see the gold coloring on the javelin and the sort of in-game conditions, more so than Fort Tarsis isn't really a good representation of the way to look while you're running around shooting stuff. But I hope that Oh my goodness, man, this game, the issues they have, man, it wows me sometimes. Like I say, I kind of wonder what kind of forethought was really put into the situation. Still vast disappointment that we can't, change the look of our weapons to match our javelins, and the only other way to get around that is to not show your weapons, which feels awkward in a looter shooter. But the other thing too is a little awkward for me is the way that they layer armor pieces on the javelins. Like very rarely do you see a new armor piece for a javelin like replace something else. It may be new arms, maybe new helmet, maybe a new legs or whatever, torso, but there is the base look of your javelin, and so the new armor piece is another piece of armor on top of whatever was already there more often than not, which is kind of ridiculous. So yeah, so here's the gold color in the light, and so yeah. But see, I also do have the brass on the frame part, and I mean, in game, it's kind of hard to tell the difference, but there is one's lighter than the other. Okay, let's see if this Champion of Tarsis thing fixed itself. Okay, thank goodness. Alright, completed. Okay, well, we'll leave it off at that. So if you do run across that issue, realize that when you load into another session, it should resolve the point. So anyway, thank you for tuning in and sharing with me in this achievement. And you all take care and enjoy.